Hi guys, in this video we are going to be painting Hermione. So get your canvas out. It's all sketched on, ready to go. I've got my jar of water. It's a little dirty because I just painted Harry and Ron. I've got my 3 brushes. I've got a big brush, a medium brush, and a small brush. You don't need those sizes. Whatever you have will work. Your jar of water, obviously, to keep your brushes in while you're not using them. That way you're not leaving them lay out to get all crusty and dry with, paint on them. So that's where you keep your brushes, well, in between when you're switching sizes. You're gonna need a towel to just dry your brushes off after you clean them in the jar, and your paint plate. Mine is kind of a mess because I just painted 2 others. I've got all my colors on there. You'll have the yellow, the white, the red, the black, and this burnt orange color. Don't worry about these other colors. I'm going to show you how to mix them. If you want, just leave them in your little cups until you need to put them on your plate. That's probably best. And I'm going to get going and show you how to paint Hermione. So I'm going to use my bigger brush, and I'm going to start with the face color. And to make that flesh tone color, you're going to use just a little dab of your burnt orange color and stir it in with a lot of your white. So it's just this very pale, like peachy flesh tone. Just make sure you mix up enough to cover the face. I'll need more than you just because my canvas is about double the size. And you're gonna just go in and paint all of Hermione's face. I'm going around the hair. I'll go around her eyes. So just be careful around your pencil. It will show through. Got a lot of orange on my brush. It will show through so long as your paint is thin. You don't want thick, globby paint. And I'm just nice, thin, even coat all around her face, around the mouth. If you go over it, that's fine. You can still see it, just like I said, so long as your paint is thin. And you don't need a lot of paint on your brush. You can always go get more. I'm just filling in her whole face. And I'm getting little streaks of orange throughout mine. And that's just because I didn't stir my paint in well when I was mixing the color. And anywhere it kind of is a little darker, I'm just trying to spread it out to make it more even. And right down to the scarf. And again, around the hairline. So there, I've got her whole face painted in. Next, I'm going to do her hair, and I'm going to show you how to make brown. So I've got that all nice and smoothed out, no globbies, nice thin layer of paint. I'm going to mix my paint using my medium brush just because I don't want, when I'm stirring the paint, the big brush will hold so much paint, and I just don't want the brush to have all my paint. I want it to still stay on my plate. So to make brown, we're kind of making a lightish medium brown. You're going to be using this orange color and a little bit of black. And I'm probably going to need to go get a little bit more orange squirted on my plate just because mine's almost gone from doing Ron's hair. Hold tight just a second while I get a little bit more squirted. Oops, it just went everywhere. All right. So as you can see, when I squirted, it kind of went everywhere. But I'm stirring this orange in, just adding a little bit of black at a time until it becomes kind of this brownish, reddish tone. Not really red, but like red hair tone. And just make sure you mix up enough on your plate to fill in all of her hair. There's quite a bit of hair. It comes all the way down and around. I probably do not have enough. If you've made this much, you will probably have enough just because your canvas is smaller than mine. So I'm gonna just stir in a little bit more of my orange, and I'll add a little bit more of black just to make sure that I have enough to cover all of her hair. And if you have different shade of brown, that's fine. If it's darker than this, it's just because you have more black in it. If you wanted to make it a little bit more this color, you would just add a little bit more of the orangey color. If it's still looking very orange, just add a little bit more black to it. So that's plenty, I do believe. I've got it all mixed up. And I'm going to go in and just take a little scoop of white and stir that in as well. And now I'm just scraping the extra off my brush because I want it on my plate so I can use it. I'm going to be using my bigger brush to fill this all in. I'm just gonna kind of get rid of extra paint from my brush on my canvas just so I'm not wasting it. I'm gonna switch over, get my bigger brush. It's full of that flesh tone right now, so I'm just cleaning it out in my jar. I'm gonna get it dried off on my towel. I'm just kind of squeezing out any of the excess water because I don't want that water, you know, dripping down my canvas. Okay, so I'm all ready to go. I've got my Hermione hair color. And I'm just gonna fill in carefully around my edge. Just a nice, thin, even coat. Around here where these little pieces are a little smaller, if you need a smaller brush, go ahead. You just use what's comfortable. Although if you are using a smaller brush, it will leave behind more brush strokes. So you see how every time I lift my brush up and put it back down, it leaves a mark. Once I get this paint on, I can just kind of smooth it out and go all the way up, and then I have a much smoother paint finish. If you want, I'm only going to be doing one coat on the hair, but if you are very streaky and you're having a hard time getting, you know, nice even strokes, just do one thin layer, streaky or not. Let it dry and go in and do a second coat, and you'll have, all those streaks will just disappear. So either way. Come down the side of her face. And there I have her hair finished. Next, I'm going to work, I'll go ahead and do this part here that's black, her shirt, and I'm also going to fill in the eyes black. So I'll use the bigger brush probably here and maybe the medium brush up here. I'll just go ahead and do the eyes first. And it's just black paint, clean brush, dried off. Some water on the handle. I gotta grab off of there with a towel just so it doesn't drip down. A little bit of black on my brush and just go in and just fill in that whole great big circle. And just be very careful. Circle shapes are hard. Make sure you're getting your pencil line covered. So I'm not gonna do the eyelashes yet because I want to use a smaller brush to do those. So I'm just doing the circle part of the eye. And then I'm gonna come down here and paint this part black. I'm gonna switch to my bigger brush. Just getting it nice and clean. Got brown in it. And just with my black paint, coming in and just filling in around the scarf. Just nice, thin, even coat. There I have the shirt filled in, and I can do my scarf. So I want you guys to just make sure before you start doing your scarf that your paint that surrounds the scarf is dry. So when I go in here and start doing the red and yellow stripes, I don't want to pull any of this wet black paint into those stripes. Same with the hair. Just give your canvas a few minutes to dry all the way. I'm gonna blast mine with the blow dryer just so I can keep moving. So sorry, it's gonna be loud for a second. All right. So for the stripes, I'm going to start with the yellow first. That way, if I slop a little over here, the red is able to cover that up quite easily. Otherwise, if you slop red into the yellow, it's really not that easy to cover with the yellow because it's so transparent. If you do happen to kind of get some paint where you don't want it and the color that it's in, like say you end up getting red up on the face, just try to wipe it off the best you can with a damp paper towel. And then go over it with a very thin coat of white paint. It might take a few coats of the white paint to kind of block out any color that you left behind, like say with red. But just take your time, let it dry between coats, a couple coats of white. When it's all dry, go ahead and just take, you know, like if it's on the skin, take your skin color again and then just brush it over top. It may still show some, but it'll certainly be better even than, you know, a great big red blob on our cheek. So I'm using my medium brush, just plain yellow paint. And my first stripe, I'm gonna go ahead and do yellow. Just gonna be careful around the hair, around the face. And just nice, thin, even coat. If you do get it in the hair, it really doesn't show. Because like I said, the yellow is very transparent. And doesn't cover other colors for beans. Same with down in the black, you barely will even see it. I'm gonna skip this one, do the next one. This one will be red. I'll skip that. Come down here on this one and fill this one in yellow. And there, that completes the yellow stripes. I'm gonna clean out my brush and then I'll go in and do my red ones. The red doesn't cover that well. Kind of leaves streaks that look a little pinkish. Don't worry, just work on a nice thin even coat, get it spread out nice and thin, and we'll go back in and do another coat of the red just so it just looks more red, because right now it does look a little bit pink. Probably not on the video, but in front of you while you're painting, I'm sure you can see what I'm talking about. So just take your time on your edges. Nice thin layer. On to the next stripe. I'm gonna do this one down here. Be careful of the hair. I should flip my canvas. I'd have an easier time getting that line. So why don't I do that? Then I can, not quite such an awkward angle. And then this little piece, the very last stripe that you barely see because it's just on the very edge of the canvas. There. Let me put it back right so you can see better. Make sure you're still in the view. Let's go this way. There we go. So while that's drying, because it needs to be dry before we do another coat, I'm going to come in and put white circles inside of the black circles of the eyes. And these are just like little reflective circles of light. And with my medium brush or small brush, you guys probably want your smaller brush because your canvases are smaller. Get that good and cleaned out. I don't want any other colors on my brush because I'm going to be using white. So a little white on my brush. You don't need a lot because it's just a very small circle. And right here on both sides, also make sure your eyes are dry. You don't want them to be wet still. So just make sure they're dry. If they're still wet, just wait a few minutes before you do this. And in this area, I'm just going to paint a small white circle. And just do your best to make it a circle shape. Circles are tricky. On the other eye, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to do my best to make it the same size and get it in, you know, the same spot. It'll be a little off, but that's okay. So I've got my two white reflective spots, and I'm going to switch to my little brush and give her the eyelashes and paint in her mouth. So a small brush, a little bit of black on your brush. I gotta find a spot on my plate. My black is a mess. Okay, so just a little bit of black paint on your brush. I'm just gonna come in and do my eyelashes. And I'm going to do her mouth. And it's just this little smile. And now her face is done. The only thing we have left to do is to go back and do another coat of red on our stripes. So I'm just going to make sure that my red is dry before I put another coat on. Otherwise it gets sticky and then it pulls that first layer of paint off and then you'll have a mess. Mine is still a little tacky. I'm gonna blow it dry. You guys just wait a few minutes till it's all the way dry and then you can catch up and do your stripes. Okay, so I'm going back in with my red paint. And just another quick coat on those red stripes. Just to kind of get rid of that pink streaky bit. I just want a nice solid red. Again, be careful of your edges. And now I'm all done. I'm gonna sign my name, and I like to sign over in this bottom corner. I try to hide it a little, but I still want it to be visible. So I'm gonna use a yellowish color. I'll probably make it maybe a little bit orange, as I wanna see it. So maybe just a dab of red and with some yellow. Oh, there's somehow black on my brush. It doesn't really matter what color you use here. I want it a little lighter. I'll add a little weight to it. I want to see it, but I don't want it to be like a focal point of my painting. I add a little bit of water in my brush, stir it into my paint. That way, it's nice and it's got a nice flow to it. And I'm just gonna sign my name right here in this yellow. So when you're all finished, feel free to put your names on there. A lot of people like to date them also. If you don't want to put it on the canvas, use a marker or something on the back you can sign. Please take photos of your finished work. I have a post pinned at the top of my Facebook page, Willy-Nilly, where you can share any of your finished paintings. I love seeing them, and you can also check out everybody else's that have posted. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.